Here's another Republican candidate is pushing to force public school students into learning right-wing propaganda. Now, Ryan Walters is a Republican candidate for state superintendent in Oklahoma. And basically, he's promising to force all teachers in the state to undergo what is being described as patriotic education at a right-wing college located in Michigan. As Tulsa World reports, Walters believes that this intervention is needed because teachers in the state are purportedly indoctrinating students with leftist bias. So understand, there's no truth in that narrative whatsoever. Leftist, what are you talking about? Leftist bias. What? Oh, you mean believing in science? You know, scientific fact that's been proven, that's been tested. Oh no, that's propaganda. Well, obviously. Oh yes. So now the response to this is interesting, and it tells a lot, because he says, "Well, we think that you're indoctrinating students, so you know what we're going to do? We're going to indoctrinate them the other way." Wait, what? No, that's bizarre. That's ridiculous. Look, here's what he said. What I will do is I will put together courses. I've been talking to Hillsdale College on this. It's the Michigan college. They're great. They're great. And have every U.S. history teacher and every history teacher in the state go through that training so that they know the basics, and that every kid will have a teacher who is learned on U.S. history, on the Constitution, on those fundamental principles. Now, in theory, that doesn't sound bad. That sounds good. I want everybody to be learned. I want everybody to know, a historical fact and accuracy. So then, will they be taught about the, slavery? Taught facts about the Civil War, Jim Crow, anti-immigrant policies that affected, yes, Europeans, as well as later on Chinese laborers on the railroads. Very exclusionary policies that are a response to, immigration. Are they going to talk about some of the pro-worker rights rebellions that happened in this country? They're talking about the fact that, for example, West Virginia, you had striking mine workers having shootouts with corporate-owned police in order to gain workers' rights. Are we going to learn about that? Are you going to teach about that? That's very, very fascinating history of workers' rights in this country. How about the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire? That's a good example. Is that the case? No. You're not going to be surprised what they want to teach. In fact, local news station KOCO noted that in the past, Walters had said patriotic education would actually have a distinct religious flavor. He said, what we have to have is true history taught in schools. Our kids need to know about the founding. They need to know this country was founded on Judeo-Christian values. So look, drop the Judeo, because they don't ever really mean it when they say Judeo-Christian. They just mean Christian nationalism. That's it. He added, they need to know about the Constitution. They need to be inspired by heroes like Washington. George Washington, let me give you some information about George Washington. It turns out he and the Founding Fathers were deists. Yes, deists. They set up a secular government, and they did so for a reason, a very important reason. And don't take my word for it, take their words for it. Here's James Madison. Quote, the purpose of separation of church and state is to keep forever from these shores the ceaseless strife that has soaked the soil of Europe with blood for centuries. Yes, I would also like to avoid that. Thomas Jefferson, in a letter to the Danbury Baptists, said this, quote, believing with you that religion is a matter which lies solely between man and his God, that he owes account to none other for his faith or his worship, that the legislative powers of government reach actions only and not opinions, I contemplate with sovereign reverence that act of the whole American people which declared that their legislature should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, thus building a wall of separation between church and state. Not only that, speaking of George Washington signed a treaty between the United States and Tripoli, right? Now, a treaty of peace and friendship between the United States and Tripoli that was approved by Washington stated this: the government of the United States is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion. Judeo-Christian values. Not so much. And in the Constitution itself, the First Amendment says this: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment. In Article 5, Section 3, no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. So, you could really say, without a doubt, that secular humanists actually do draw inspiration from these beliefs of the founder of the nation. And that we actually do know the Constitution, and these people don't. This dipshit doesn't. He doesn't know anything about what he's talking about. He's actually preaching against the Constitution and against the founder's intent, at least when it comes to religion. No, what he's doing is trying to fit right-wing ideology where it shouldn't be. He is teaching ideology. He has an ideological bent and is trying to put propaganda into the schools. He is a religious zealot who is trying to pervert the government, just like other religious zealots have perverted their own religion to service right-wing goals. Now, how did the teachers feel about this? Well, very strongly, actually. Local news station Fox 23 in the summer reported that many Oklahoma teachers are actively dreading Walter's tenure as superintendent, with one teacher telling the station that they may quit on the spot if he is elected. This is a great example of how local elections really, really matter. All the way down, again, to your school board, superintendents, all of it matters. The right wing has engineered a takeover at all levels of government. They use the media, they use their own talking points, utter fabrications, and, misinterpret the Constitution, misinterpret the intent of the founding fathers, who, by the way, not perfect, not nearly perfect. But part of being a patriot is being able to critique those same people and to be honest about what this country is about and the history of this country, which these people cannot be because it ruins their Christian nationalism. That's why you do need to get involved in your local elections to stop these Christian nationalists from taking over and perverting the very history they swear to protect. They're not protecting anything but their own power.